Gonna do a live stream for you right now. So welcome, and if you're watching, put your name in the comments so that I know you're here. And this wasn't really planned or anything, but I had a call a little while ago with my mastermind group, and we were talking about just mentors and, just working with people and getting, feedback from other people on our stuff and, hiring mentors to help us with our product launches and with our book launches and, with all the projects that we have going on. And one of the things that I think was a commonality for all of us was that we realized, yeah, there are formulas for things. Yeah, there are, do these 10 steps and you'll, launch a best-selling book and all these things that have worked for other people. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, because I think, that's kind of what online marketing has been built on, is the whole formula thing. And really, if you do these 10 things, then you're going to have a 6-figure launch. And, if you do these things, then your book's going to become a bestseller. And I feel like we fall into the trap of believing that that's going to help us, because we think like, oh, I want that result. It's something that, I want to have in my own life. I want to have a best-selling book, or I want to, make 6 figures from a launch or whatever. So we tell ourselves, oh, we need this. We need to know the formula, and we need to do it the way that other people are doing it and the way that we, think we're supposed to do it. And I think what happens a lot of the times is that we don't realize that that doesn't really work for us. So, yeah, it's great to have that goal in mind. And like, yeah, I would love to have a best-selling book. I would love to have, a 6-figure launch of one of my books or something like that. But when it comes down to it, looking at the formula that other people have created and that are, that they're using for their own stuff, I feel like it just sometimes doesn't feel right. And I think that one of the things that my mastermind group, we kind of were talking about, was the fact that it really comes down to this. There are a million ways to do something. There are formulas out there. There are ways of doing things other people have come up with, or, that they figured out or created. And it's great because that works for them. But what's really important is to remember to do you. And I think if you don't do that, and if you don't remember that it's really important to do what feels good to you, you might fall into the trap of living by someone else's formula. So basically doing things the way everyone else is doing it because you think you should, instead of doing it the way you feel, this is the best way to do it. And so I think, even for me, like I had a launch last month where I launched a course called Write Your Damn Novel, and it was amazing. And I was really excited to do the launch, and I was working with a team of people who were, talking me through how to do everything and, how to handle everything. And I felt like it was great. I did a great job and I loved it. But I think, there were parts of it that just didn't feel like me, as far as like, I did a cart close. So basically I had the cart open for 5 days. There was a launch going on. And then after that, it closed. And then there was a 2-day gap. And then I opened up for payment plans. Oh, if anyone else wants to join, you can do payment plans. And after all that was done, I just didn't feel right about it, because I've always done payment plans along with the pay in full options, so that people have the opportunity to join who can't necessarily pay in full. And so doing it in a sort of, this is how the formula is. First you do this and then you do that. It just didn't really work for me. And I felt like, even though it worked as far as like, yeah, it helped people actually decide if they wanted to be part of this workshop, but I definitely didn't feel like, yeah, this is how I want to do this going forward. And so a really important thing, and this is, I'm saying this is kind of a roundabout example, but the idea here is, maybe you've read a lot of books about fiction writing, or about how you're supposed to do something, or maybe you've taken workshops and courses and things like that. And I say, all that's great, because we have to learn somehow. We have to do, we have to find ways to learn, and we have to see what other people are doing to sort of see what is working and then tweak it. But I think it's really important at the end of the day to just remember that no matter what you learn, and no matter whose formula you see, or strategies and all that stuff, it's more about what works for you, or what feels good to you. And so I would say keep that in mind for anything, whether you're launching a book, whether you're, putting an email freebie together to get more readers for your list, whatever you're doing, whether it's marketing or actually just getting the book out there, you have to do what feels good to you and what works for you, because if you don't, it's not going to work anyway. Because in order for something to actually work and to feel in alignment, you have to feel good about it. And it has to feel like, yes, this is totally awesome. I can't wait to tell everyone about this, And if you don't feel that way, then there's more work to do. So I just kind of wanted to share this, because I think a lot of the times we fall into the trap of thinking we have to live by a formula, or we have to do, these 10 things if you want to get to this result. And it's crazy, because there are literally millions of ways that you can go from point A to point Z. You don't have to do every single step along the way that everyone else has done. And you don't have to, constantly be telling yourself you have to do what other people are doing. And really just what my coach friends would say, stay in your lane. So that's kind of a funny phrase, but the idea just meaning don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't pay attention to what other people are doing, and really just do what works for you and what feels good to you. So that's just something that I live by, and it's something that I've had to bring myself to live by, because I think for a long time, especially like growing up and stuff, I was bullied a lot, and I just felt like, well, I just want to fit in, and so I would try to do things that other people were doing because I wanted to fit in. But unfortunately, it never really worked, because I'm not normal. I'm multi-passionate, and I'm creative, and I'm just always wanting to put stuff out there. So I don't have that ability to just be normal. And so I finally accepted that and realized that, okay, like I have to do things my way, and I have to live the way that works for me, because otherwise I'm never going to be happy. And so, and this is kind of just really, it goes for anything. So whether you're talking about your book, so maybe you got your book back from an editor and you're just not loving all the comments. Maybe there's stuff that you're like, but I really like that, or I really want to keep that in there. Well, I mean, as long as it actually works in the story and isn't just complete nonsense, like you have to decide that this is, what I want to do, and this is what works for me, and I'm going to stick with this. So I always go by the feel of it. So does this feel like, the right action or the right book to put out there, or whatever you're doing? And then just go by the feel. So if it doesn't, then tweak it until it does. Or if the wording doesn't feel right, then change the wording until you feel like, yes, this is the right wording. Just in general, if you keep in mind, always do you. Whatever you're doing, whether it's learning something else in a course or a workshop, or whether you're getting feedback from an editor, or doing like what I was saying with my group that I'm part of, is, we are all talking about our mentors and mentors that we've worked with, and just realizing that, like, yes, the formulas and the things we've learned from them are great, but we have to take that and take all the other things we've learned. And I think this is true for fiction writing and stuff too, is you have to take all the stuff you've learned from all the books and the courses and the mentors and all that, and you have to figure out what works for you. And that's the only way you're ever going to actually create success for yourself, because that's what it comes down to, is just doing what works for you and staying in, staying in your lane. So staying focused on where you want to go and not worrying or getting distracted by all the stuff around you that people are doing. So now, I would say there's a big difference between a formula and a strategy. So a formula is really very specific. These are 10 things you need to do to get to this result. Done. Okay, that's a formula. And that's great, but it's not great for most people, because following a formula just doesn't always work. It's just something that, maybe it worked for that person, but it might not work completely for you. So I like strategy, which is basically I know where I'm heading, and then I know what the formulas are, and then figuring out of all of that stuff, what feels right to me, what feels good to me, and putting my strategy together based on that. So I'm launching a group called the Six Figure Author Society, and today is the final day to get in. And this is exactly what I created this group for, is I've learned strategies, and I've done strategies, and I've done formulas, and I've done all these things from my corporate jobs and doing marketing for that, and working with mentors and courses I've taken and all this stuff. And what I've discovered is that really there are principles, almost like with storytelling. So if you follow me at all, and you know about the fact that I talk a lot about storytelling principles and craft and all of that, it's very similar to that. So it's the idea of everything has a principle that you should kind of use as a guideline, but that doesn't mean it's a formula. So big difference there. And so I think the reason I created the Six Figure Author Society is because I want writers to have a strategy. So basically to know what are the foundational pieces that you have to have in place to actually bring to life this writing career that you want to have, and to sell the books that you see yourself selling and all that stuff. So it's not about, here's a formula that's going to work if you do, these 10 steps, but it's really, okay, this is what the foundations of good marketing are, and this is what is actually going to get you where you want to go. And now try it out and see what works best for you. So that way you're not doing a formula, but you're really creating the marketing foundation that feels good to you. So you're doing the stuff you enjoy. So like for me, I actually like doing videos. I'm now trying to convince myself to do more live streaming, because I know there's a lot more interaction, and it's definitely a great way to connect with your audience. But I am not exactly 100% comfortable doing live videos, so it's something I'm working on. And obviously this is a live video right now, so yay for me getting out of my comfort zone. But the idea is, if I don't have a topic prepared, so usually I can do a live stream just fine. If I've got a topic prepared and I've written out notes and I have an outline of what I'm going to teach everybody. But if I just have an idea, like, having this conversation with my mastermind group and talking about the fact that you have to learn, what works for other people, but then you have to figure out how to implement that for yourself so that it works for you, and really just do you, that was something I felt like I wanted to bring to my audience to talk about, but I didn't necessarily have anything prepared ahead of time. So this is me just giving that a try. And so because I do like video and I do like to interact with my audience, live stream is a part of my marketing. But maybe you don't love video, so then you wouldn't want to have video as part of your marketing, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do it. So I think that's really what I love about this group, the Six Figure Author Society, is that we're not going to be saying you have to do video and you have to do this and you have to do that, because it's not about that. You can get to the success you want as an author a million different ways. That is not what matters. It's not, you know, you have to do video or you have to do this. It's here are the things that are a part of, you know, marketing as a whole, the foundations of it, the strategy behind it, the mindset behind it, connecting with people, building relationships, you know, things like that. So those are the things we're focusing on in this group. And you're going to figure out through doing these activities, you know, what feels good to you and what you enjoy doing. And from there, you'll actually have your strategy for how you're going to go out and show up in the world and be this author that you dream of being and sell the books that you want to sell. So that is what this is all about, and I'm just super, super excited about it. We're kicking things off tomorrow at 1 p.m. We actually have our first little kickoff live stream in the Facebook group, and I would love to have you join us. So if you are an author who has at least one book published and you want to build your marketing foundation in a way that feels super awesome to you, that doesn't feel, you know, spammy or salesy or sleazy, but really just feels like you showing up and doing the things you enjoy doing, whether that's being on video, whether it's creating, you know, blog posts or memes or any of the things you enjoy doing, that's what it's all about. It's about creating your marketing based on what you enjoy. Because if you enjoy it, you're actually going to do the work, versus if you're telling yourself you have to follow some formula and it's all these things you don't really care about, you're not going to force yourself to do the work because you're not going to be interested in it and it's not going to feel fun to you. So I believe that, you know, writing is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to feel like a struggle. It's supposed to be just something we enjoy doing. This is what we're dedicating our lives to, is doing the writing and being authors. So I don't know, that's just my belief, but I think that's why I created this group the way it is, because I think it'll be great to just have everybody working on stuff together and just building the foundations of having the marketing that you need to actually get yourself out there, be visible, and build your readership so that you can sell more books. So you can learn more about this by going to jenniferblanchard.net/sixfigureauthor to check it out. And if you have any questions, be sure to hit me up, because today is the final day to sign up before we're closing the doors and then getting started with the first round. So jenniferblanchard.net/sixfigureauthor. Thanks for joining me for this live stream. And just remember to do you, because that is the only way you are ever going to create your dream life. Catch you next time.